It is quiet out there again today and a little too hot for it to be the first full day of fall, and the first full weekend will be around 90. We'll track all of it in the changes ahead coming up.
State police are investigating an officer-involved shooting in Powell County, the latest from the scene. And the wife of a man shot by police in Charlotte releases video of the moments leading up to her husband's death. We have the latest developments from North Carolina.
This is WKYT News at 4.
Welcome to WKYT News at 4. I'm Amber Philpott. It is a beautiful Friday afternoon. The weekend is here. Take a look at our downtown WKYT drop cam. It should be a nice night tonight for Friday night football and even for our weekend. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell is in now with the pleasant details. Boy, it sure feels like summer outside.
It does feel like summer right now. You're absolutely right with all that heat around. And as a matter of fact, I'm only here for an hour. Chris is out, and he's going to be at Lakeside Live coming up starting at 5 o'clock. So that shows you how nice it is. He decided to take the show on the road. He's just not there yet. Here's what we've got outside. It's a quiet one. You can see on our sky cam. On Defender Radar Network, you will not expect to see or have to deal with any showers out there today, tomorrow, even Sunday. But Monday will be a day of change for us. We'll have some energy dropping in on us. Calm all around us with a little bit of cloud cover. And as Amber mentioned, that high school football forecast, it's going to be a little warm to be out there. We expect that the early parts of the season, but now we're truly into fall. We've got lower sun angles. We've got everything you need to get cool, and we're still going to be on the warm side. 82 kickoff. Halftime, we're still in the mid-70s, and by the time we start wrapping up a lot of those games throughout the area, we're still in the low 70s. How about getting into the upper 80s to around 90 for highs tomorrow? We'll do it, and we'll do it on Sunday. But those changes I keep talking about, they will make you remember everything you love about fall. We'll break it all down coming up in just a few minutes.
We will see you then, Jim. Thank you. Police say they used a taser, pepper spray, and baton before shooting a man in a Kentucky community. We've learned deputies in Powell County were talking with a man who was hanging out in a stranger's backyard when the man then took off running. After that, police say things took a violent turn. Hillary Thornton is in Powell County with details on what led to the shooting. It's our top story at 4.
This whole thing starting with a call about a suspicious man in someone's yard out here along Coppers Creek Road. The deputy getting out here, making contact with that man who then claimed this was the only spot he could pick up a Wi-Fi signal. That suspect then refusing to give the deputy his name, taking off. Another deputy coming to provide backup, then following the man we are told is 41 years old. The deputy asking the man to get on the ground, warning him he would be tased. After refusing to stop, he was tased. Chief Deputy Williams saying the suspect then tried to pull out the prongs, so the deputy got on top of the suspect, tasing him again.
That wasn't doing any good at all. This man was about 6'3", 6'4", probably 275, 280, and this deputy's 5 foot 4 inches tall, weighs about 160 pounds. He gets up, stands up with this deputy on his back with his arm around his neck trying to choke him out. He stands up, he throws the deputy off his back and takes off running again. The deputy then following him once again, eventually the suspect sitting down saying he needed to rest. When the deputy told him he was under arrest, another physical altercation broke out. After already using his taser, pepper spray, and baton, the chief deputy says in his opinion, his officer did exactly what he is trained to do. The very last tool that he used, that he felt like he had to use to save his own life, was his handgun. Now at last check, deputies were unsure of an official condition for that suspect, but they do say after he was shot in the chest, he was up and talking to deputies and even smoked a cigarette while waiting for EMS. In Powell County, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
We are told the deputy involved has been placed on administrative leave while Kentucky State Police investigate the shooting. The family of the gas station clerk shot during an attempted robbery Saturday night now says he is permanently paralyzed from the waist down. Charles Moore, known by many as Chuck, was shot several times at the Marathon gas station on Lansdowne Drive. Moore has released a statement thanking the public for their prayers and support, urging people to send instant messages and keep the cards and letters coming. WKYT's Kristen Kennedy talked with Moore's son. You'll hear more from him coming up at 5. We are working on a number of other stories for you on WKYT starting at 4:30. Sam Dick joins us now from the newsroom with a look at some of the news in progress. Good afternoon, Sam.
Good afternoon, Amber. We caught up with the governor earlier today to ask him about the state Supreme Court's ruling, which said his cuts to the budgets of state universities and colleges were illegal. Governor Bevin would say only that he and his staff are in the process of reading through the ruling, but that he is not yet ready to respond. Attorney General Andy Beshear has called on the governor to release $18 million from an account immediately. A Lexington business owner is saying thanks to his customers for supporting him over the last few years. 2 years ago, Mamadou Savaneh was badly burned when sauce spilled all over him in his restaurant. And since then, he and the restaurant Saab's Grill have received an outpouring of support from the community. This weekend, Saab's will mark 8 years in business with a special celebration. We'll talk to him about that coming up at 6 o'clock. And then there's this. Middlesboro police arresting a man overnight while he was dressed in a clown costume. An officer saw someone dressed as a clown walking in a wooded area of Bell County. He ended up arresting Jonathan Martin on outstanding warrants. Martin is also accused of violating the city's ordinance of covering your face while in public and with disorderly conduct. That's a look at some of the news in progress on this Friday. Amber, back to you.
Sam, thank you. Now to some stories making headlines across the nation at 4. Charlotte, North Carolina will have curfew in effect tonight after 3 straight nights of protest over the police shooting death of Keith Scott. Thursday's demonstrations come as a family attorney released footage taken by Scott's wife during that shooting. Emily Schmidt shows us the chilling video. We warn you, though, you may find some of the images disturbing.
Keith, don't let them break the windows. Come on out the car. Keith, don't do it.
That is the voice of Keith Scott's wife. On video she recorded.
He doesn't have a gun. He has a TBI. He's not going to do anything to you guys.
As a Charlotte police officer fatally shot her husband. Lawyers for the Scott family released the video Friday, hours after protesters called for the release of 2 other videos, these recorded by police. Police have one video from another officer's body camera, another from a dashboard camera.
I wish just based on video evidence, it could give us probable cause, but it didn't work that way.
Charlotte's police chief says the case is now with the State Bureau of Investigation, which he expects to gather more information before releasing the video. Charlotte's mayor says the police videos are inconclusive about what Scott was holding. Scott's families watched the videos as well. Their lawyer wants the images released to the public now.
You can see what appears to be some type of object in his hand, but he never raises it at any point.
Video recorded by Scott's wife does not show if Scott had a gun. Meanwhile, Charlotte's leaders say they'll remain on the same level of alert heading into the weekend, hoping a citywide curfew, the National Guard, and a call for calm will work for protesters who have a call release the video of their own. Emily Schmidt, WKYT.
During Wednesday's demonstrations in Charlotte, a protester named Justin Carr was shot and killed by a civilian near the Omni Hotel. Charlotte police tweeted today that they have charged a man with murder for that shooting. A congressman says 3 of Hillary Clinton's staff members were granted immunity deals in exchange for their cooperation into Clinton's use of a private email server as Secretary of State. The Republican, whose House committee has been looking into Clinton's email practices at the State Department, says he is stunned that the FBI would have cut a deal with someone as close to the investigation as Cheryl Mills was. She was Clinton's former chief of staff. Congressman Jason Chaffetz said Mills and 2 others were granted immunity deals in exchange for their cooperation. The Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. will be opening its 19th museum this weekend. The much-anticipated National Museum of African American History and Culture celebrates the art, life, and history of some of the most influential Black leaders.
The goal was to find that tension between moments of tears and moments of great joy.
It will open to the public tomorrow. No tricks here. The National Retail Federation says Halloween 2016 is sure to be a treat for retailers. Find out just how much Americans are expected to spend for the holiday. And a new study confirms what we all know. Most people gain weight during the holidays, but find out which people are most likely to drop the pounds quicker. That's ahead for you in Better Living.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Welcome back in on this Friday afternoon. Information from 500 million Yahoo accounts could now be in the hands of cyber thieves. That begins today's Money Watch. The stolen information includes names, email addresses, telephone numbers, birthdays, and in some cases, unencrypted security questions and answers used to verify your identity. Yahoo says the hack does not appear to include credit card or bank account information.
Just because your bank account information wasn't stolen, oh, it's just my email and my password, what could they possibly have? Well, they have access to your entire circle of friends, all of the businesses that you do business with.
Yahoo says it is notifying users and taking steps to secure accounts. And if you haven't changed your password since 2014, you should do it now. Marriott International is now the world's largest hotel chain. Marriott completed its $13 billion purchase of Starwood Hotels, growing the company to 30 different hotel brands. That's 1 out of every 15 hotel rooms around the globe. Starting today, loyalty members can link their Marriott and Starwood rewards programs. Americans will spend more on this Halloween this year than they have in the past 11 years. According to a new poll from the National Retail Federation, consumers will spend just over $8 billion on treats, pumpkins, costumes, and other Halloween items. That is nearly $93 per shopper. McDonald's Japan is taking the pumpkin craze to a whole new level. Restaurants there are selling pumpkin chocolate French fries. They're drizzled with chocolate and pumpkin sauce just in time for Halloween. There's no word if U.S. locations will give it a try.
It's a night show and a fabulous fundraiser happening in Richmond. I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about at Bluegrass Ace Hardware today. We'll tell you more about it when we return here on WKYT.
And today was the first true 24-hour period of fall. Felt nothing like it, and it won't this weekend either. We'll track the heat coming up for you.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
The heat still hanging around out there for us today. Just because it says it's fall does not mean it is going to go right into it, at least not immediately. We've got a good hint of it showing up next week because if you look, we're in the upper 80s and low 90s in many locations across central and into eastern portions of Kentucky. So plenty of warmth out there for us today. Let's look and see what we've got here elsewhere with our Defender Radar Network. Very quiet, no showers, no thunderstorms. It'll stay this way tomorrow, Sunday. Monday's a different story. So we've got a big sweeping cold front that will come rolling our way. Here's what that looks like once we get beyond the weekend, once we get beyond all of this heat. I notice I'm not saying the word humidity because it's not going to be a very humid weekend, just a hot one. Here's that front, and look what happens behind it. That cold air just comes pouring into the area. And when I say cold, I mean you're going to have this area of low pressure sitting there spinning, keeping clouds around, keeping showers around. That's going to be the problem. The fact that we go to these temperatures because of that, keeping that type of pattern locked in for us for a little while. That's going to be the big issue here. Let's advance with our hour-by-hour temperature outlook. We're back in the mid and upper 80s to around 90 degrees for you on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. Plenty of heat out there. Now, we go into the early morning, we're around 70 degrees or so. Keep that in mind, upper 60s and low 70s on Sunday morning. During the daytime hours on Sunday, we're back into the mid and upper 80s yet again. There's that heat. Starts backing off a little bit since we're seeing a little more cloud cover out ahead of that next system. Now let's get the system in here. And there you see the changes already starting to show up. Already breaking out into the mid and upper 70s to our west while still holding on to some warmth in eastern portions of Kentucky. So that front is pushing its way through at that moment on Monday, at least with this model run. Now the timing on it, still we're trying to nail that down to be 100%, but you see that it's certainly coming together. How about we get into early on Tuesday morning with 50s? Yeah, that's where we'll be. And then daytime highs only in the upper 60s and low 70s in most locations here in central Kentucky, just a touch warmer to our south and east. So that's what we have coming our way, and you can see all of it in our 7-day forecast. Got the toasty temperatures hanging around here this weekend, but next week, as that new air mass comes rolling in, changes start to come. All right, let's get you up to date on the traffic situation out there right now. What has Officer Don got us on this first Friday of fall?
I just got a report, Jim, of a collision on outbound Richmond Road. This one's just past St. Anne. A couple of cars involved there, but it looks like they're going to be able to clear that right lane in the next 5 minutes or so. Otherwise, historical heaviest on the inner and outer loops between Liberty and Richmond Road. Drive times to Nicholasville holding less than 15 minutes, to Versailles about 12 or so. Now back to you in the studio.
Officer Don, thank you. Each day here at 4, we also want to show you some of the great things that are going on here in the Bluegrass. Deanne Stevens is our out and about hometown reporter at 4. Today she's at Bluegrass Ace Hardware in Madison County to tell us about a very special event there. Hi, Deanne.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. We are in Madison County today, stopped off in Richmond at Bluegrass Ace Hardware, where you, my dear, probably want to stop off tomorrow, 9 until 12. They're having a fabulous, now it's called the Tested Double X Tour, and I'm learning all kinds of things about knives today. We have Anthony and Marty with us, and you guys, from what you were telling me, you're like one of 10 stops for this company?
Absolutely. They do this every year. It's annually, and this is our 9th year in a row that we've been doing it with Case, so we are one of our largest Case dealers.
So tell us what we're doing tomorrow.
Tomorrow we'll have, it's an Officer Ellis fundraiser as well. We're going to have a special commemorative knife, and Case artisans will be here sharpening and cleaning your knives. There'll be a lot of games, door prizes, giveaways, silent auctions to raise money. Just a whole lot of fun for the family, live music.
How long has this company been around?
What, 127 years.
Wow, and so many people collect these. I said I should know more about this, being my dad collects knives. So many people collect the different knives, and this is an opportunity for them to see new ones, to see the artisans, to be a part of the show tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge event for us. I mean, it's one of our bigger events that we have throughout the year, so we've got people coming in throughout the country, really, so it's going to be pretty interesting.
And it's okay for the kids to come out, too, because you guys are having all kinds of activities?
Actually, yes, we're having the first annual kids Case Camp this year, so we're inviting all kids 6 to 15. There'll be a short little seminar on knife safety, knife collecting. They'll get to put a knife together themselves, and a wooden knife they'll get to put together and keep, and there'll be little gift bags for them, so we're trying to get the kids involved as well.
All right, so bring them out too, and as they mentioned a little bit ago, there's a special commemorative knife in honor of Officer Ellis and his memory. We're going to talk more about that coming up at 4:50, 9 until 12 tomorrow here at Bluegrass Ace Hardware in Richmond. I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about. Back to you guys.
Deanne, thank you. We have all been told that red wine is good for the heart, but a new study suggests that alcohol is not as beneficial as previously thought. That story ahead in Better Living. And ahead at 4:30, we'll show you how Kentucky's colleges and universities came together to help promote safety on campus. Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is $20 million, and tomorrow night's Powerball jackpot is $50 million. It is time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. The United States could save at least $15.5 billion a year if malnutrition caused by chronic diseases is better addressed. A new study conducted by Abbott Laboratories and the University of Illinois noted 1 in 3 patients who arrive at a U.S. hospital suffer from malnutrition. It's disproportionate affects elderly, and while they make up only 14% of the American population, they accounted for nearly $4.3 billion of medical costs. The U.S. federal government estimated an aging population and rising medical costs are expected to lift healthcare spending by an average of 5.8% annually over the next decade. New research suggests that alcohol might not be as good for the heart as we once thought. The study examined data from the Framingham Heart Study, a large ongoing study that looks at the risk factors for heart disease. Kim Hutcherson has more.
A new study finds that drinking alcohol, even in moderation, may increase the size of one of the heart's chambers and leave people at risk for irregular heartbeat and a host of other problems. Researchers analyzed data from more than 5,200 people from the same Massachusetts town. Participants reported how much alcohol they drank each week. The sizes of their hearts were measured, and they were tested for atrial fibrillation or irregular heartbeat. Analysts found that, over the study period, having about one alcoholic drink daily was linked to small increases in the size of the left atrium, one of the two upper chambers in the heart. An enlarged left atrium increases a person's risk of atrial fibrillation. That can cause blood to pool inside the left atrium, leading to blood clots or stroke. But researchers point out that these findings may not apply to everyone. Some people may be genetically predisposed to atrial fibrillation. The study was published in the Journal of the American Heart Association. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
A new study has confirmed what your waistband has told you all along. You gain weight during the holidays. The study also concluding people who weigh themselves frequently seem to lose those extra pounds faster. The trend was seen in Americans and Germans. Within 10 days of Christmas, the average weight increased 0.4% among Americans and 0.6% among Germans. Previous studies have shown that Americans typically gain 3 to 5 pounds over the holidays. Now let's head over to Jim for another check of the weather. We're not thinking about the holidays just yet. We're talking about fall and summer fall, I guess.
We're just trying to get fall in here. That's what we're trying to do out there. It's officially here, but as we know, it certainly doesn't feel like it. And it does look like it in spots. And when I say that, I mean some of the leaves have already fallen off some of those trees out there. They didn't get to their full color. That's the problem when we had so much rain over the past few months here. Right now, Frankfurt, Moorhead, Lexington, and London, all mid and upper 80s to around 90 degrees and plenty of sunshine for you. It's dry heat, and that makes it a little bit better. Not by much, but it certainly feels at least a little bit. So those Kentucky cams showing up throughout the entire area. They're looking pretty good. Now, as we look ahead to our Defender Radar Network, things will be quiet throughout the rest of the evening as well. That's all we've got for you here at 4 o'clock, but Sam and Amber have a whole lot more at 4:30.